Thank you everybody for tuning into the March edition of Joomla Next. Thanks a lot to all the viewers who've tuned in from all across the globe. So as you know, Joomla Next is a virtual event that Techjoomla conducts every month. We look forward to getting people from the Joomla community to share their insights on various topics of Joomla. So it could be some cool new extensions, some way of doing things, or the business side of things. Speakers kind of come in and share their knowledge with the entire community. That's the founding idea behind Joomla Next. Yeah, so today we are into March. We started off this in August last year, and we're already in March. So it's been a fantastic sessions. Yeah, so these are a few of our past speakers. I'm sure you identify most of these names, people from the Joomla community. Yeah, so today we have Marteen joining us from Cloud Faction. He's of course part of the Joomla community, works on a lot of open source projects. He's going to be doing a session for us today, and Marteen is going to be talking about Joomla front-end layout module for the Cassiopeia template. That's what we're going to be looking at hearing from Marteen today. Welcome, Marteen. Thanks a lot for kind of coming here and planning to share your Cassiopeia knowledge with the community. Thanks a lot for and we're glad to have you here. So thanks, and over to you, Marteen. Ready whenever you are.
All right. My presentation will be about Kickstart Cassiopeia. It's a module I created to get everybody started with Joomla 4 and the Cassiopeia template, and mainly make it easier for them to work with it. There's a presentation on my website that I will start sharing now with you guys. You can see this. I will do this, and afterwards I will take you into the module and see, let you see how everything works and what you can do with it. So I will begin. Well, first off, my name is Maarten Blokdijk. I'm from the Netherlands, Hellevoetsluis. The drone picture you'll see is one I took myself as a hobby. I'm also a drone videographer. My company is called Cloud Faction. You can find me on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever. Those are the main channels. And some Joomla projects I have done in the past, protostarplus.com, currently drjoomla.com, a Dutch Joomla manual called handleidingjoomla.nl, and a templating website I created, junexpro.com, and JModules also, that's available. Well, some of my work, I started in the late 90s, web development. I created my own CMS in the classic ASP, Microsoft programming language. In 2012, I started the company Cloud Faction and started with Joomla. In 2017, I created my own free and commercial template, Junex Pro. And in 2019, I created a modules website called jmodules.com. Some things that I've done for the community. I've been a speaker on the Joomla Days 2018-2019. I am a co-organizer of the Joomla User Group in Rotterdam. Monthly meetings with quite some attendees, about 30 sometimes. So that's a nice group. And I've been a former member of the Educational Outreach Working Group. I stopped it due to lack of time. I'm quite busy in the community. So. About Kickstart Cassiopeia, about the idea, about the implementation, about features, and of course a demo and questions at the end. Let's start with the idea. Make Joomla more accessible, not really on the accessibility feature for people with disabilities around their eyes or something, but make it more accessible for webmasters and for people who are starting with Joomla to make it easier for them to work with. Start a new website with Joomla can be daunting for beginners. there's a template, there's not too many features, and you want to have color changes, and you want to have tons of features, and you don't want to install tons of modules or components to have them all working. So my main aim was not to overwrite core elements, not to do a change on the default template, which has worked out great because Joomla 4.1 has started working with child templates, and my module has been working just fine on Joomla 4 and 4.1, so that's proven itself already. And I wanted to add tons of features with just one module. Make it like a Swiss Army knife. Always handy with lots of features. You can do more than just colors. You can tackle real issues. I will address them in a while. And I will help, this module will help webmasters breathe more. So they will make life more easier. Things that you always have to do on your website, this module takes care of them. That's the basic idea. Well, how did it all start? In 2015, I created Protostar Plus. That was a real template based on Protostar for Joomla 3, of course. And I started doing a lot of Joomla work with Protostar and always doing custom CSS changes and updating things that were always needing to be updated to make the site more personalized for the client. And I said, well, why not make that into a template based on Protostar and do that with color settings, social icon settings, and slideshows, all those basic things that you can use and make it much more easy to implement. That's what I did. It had over 6,000 downloads through the website protostarplus.com and through GitHub. And it was free. And for Joomla 4, well, when Joomla 4 came along and the Cassiopeia template finally settled down a bit and became the version it is currently, I started working on a sort of Protostar-like module, Protostar Plus-like module, but then for Joomla 4, and that of course had to be based on Cassiopeia. And I came up with the name Kickstart Cassiopeia because it'll kickstart the way you work with Joomla 4, starting with Joomla 4, the Cassiopeia template, and this module. And it's also, there's a free version of this module, and there's also a paid version. Choice is always up to you, but you can try the free version, of course, to start. Well, implementation. How did we come up with the idea of not creating a template but a module, and why did I do that? Well, I think I'm going. Yes, this before. This is a basic Joomla 4 Cassiopeia website. You can see when you do a basic install with sample content, you'll get something like this. There will be sample layout, there will be a block, there will be a blue color, and a Cassiopeia thing at the top, sorry. And when the module is installed and activated, this is what it looks like. You see tons of changes, of course, colors, but also a header bar with contact and download options here. You see the logo next to the menu, and you see rounded corners, for instance. You see background images. There are social icons to share pages. There's a cookie warning. All is done with one module, Kickstart Cassiopeia. And there's lots more that can be done, of course. I will get into that later. It installs as a module, not as a template. Well, there was a bit of a thinker for me. Why should I not just build another template, but create a module? Well, first off, I am great at building modules, and a module can also do lots of things with CSS and settings and features. So, and why did I do that? Well, here you see some differences. The pros for modules are they use a Joomla update system. It uses Joomla ACL. No changes done to the Joomla core. No changes done to the Joomla template. And it sticks to the Cassiopeia template. And the cons are there are no extra module positions. I'm not changing the template. I'm building on the template. So you're always kind of, if you can even say that, limited to what Cassiopeia has to offer in case of module positions. And the pros and cons of creating a template. Well, pros for a template are there are more flexible layout options. You can have more module position. You have more control over head body sections. Things can be hard coded there. And there are some cons. There are no ACL options. And you use a different template than the default template. So you're always a bit in danger when updating. How to use? Well, read the fine manual. You must. F is for fine, of course, and not for something else. Lots of documentation and sample code can be found on kickstartcassiopeia.com. How to use? Well, first of all, you download the module and you install it and publish it in the banner position, and you hide the title. It's a basic video I also put on the website where you can see how easy this is done. Then you select the pages to publish it on. This is also quite a big advantage for working with a module. You can make more copies of the module, change colors, and have different layouts on different pages. And it enables you to also use certain features on certain pages. Of course, the module has a lot of layout options, but there are also tons of webmaster tools in the module. For instance, a cookie or a pop-up. And you can choose to publish a copy of the module that only uses the pop-up on the page where you want to show the pop-up, for instance. And that is what this last yellow sentence means. This enables you to use certain features on certain pages. Concerns. Well, performance is, there are always concerns when doing add-ons because it minimally affects performance. When using Google Fonts, that's an option using external Google Fonts. The same goes for Cassiopeia itself. The performance is minimally affected. You can see it here. This still has an A grade on GT metrics, and the loading time is still very low. It just adds about 7 kilobytes to your page, so that's not a lot. Well, talk about features, because I've talked a lot about the module, but now you want to know what can you do with it. Well, what to expect. Here you see some screenshots. And when you go in, well, you can do lots with colors, over 30 selectors, change color fonts, change heading fonts, change button colors, change background colors, change accent colors, change, well, too much to mention actually. And you can even do that with gradients, creating a gradient look and having background images blurred for something, all possible. What to expect? Well, colors, lots of colors, background images and transparency with gradients, as I said. Custom CSS for different viewports. You can create CSS for mobile, CSS for desktop, CSS for tablets. All options are available. If you want to use custom CSS using my module, it's quite easy because I have dedicated fields for that in the module. And you can even add custom codes for different sections. For instance, if you want to use an external chat script and you have to put some JavaScript in the body, in the end body tag or in the head tag, it's all possible. I have sections that insert code in different sections of the page quite easily. And you can use Google Fonts for text and headers. Google Fonts are optional, same as they are in the default Cassiopeia template. And there are layout options for logo and menu. You can set the menu next to the logo or set the logo above the menu or center the logo and even work with header bar. The header options are more extensive than the default templates. And of course, you have layout options for content and blog. You can set the default height of images, etc. And very nice also, there are webmaster extensions, really handy tools like the Swiss Army knife from a couple of sheets ago that really make life more easier for the webmaster. Well, some webmaster extensions. This is based on version 1.7, 1.8 is in the making. It has been in the making for quite some time, but I am confident it will be released soon. It's going through testing at this time, and there will be more features. I will show them when I show the demo. First off, you can block IP numbers. If you want to filter access to your website or to a page, publish the module on that page and block IP numbers in the module. And then that page or that entire website can be blocked or filtered with IP access. Quite good to use for intranets or information for a company network. Set a custom favicon. The favicon is the item you have on top here, the small favicon. Quite easy to set, just select an image and the favicon is set for you. You don't have to do anything more. So you don't have to insert any code, upload anything, just select an image and you have a favicon. All those easy things that you always have to do, that always cause extra work, it's all done for you with the module. There's the cookie notice. The cookie notice allows your visitor to allows you to inform your visitors that you use cookies, and you can set this notice to be active for 180 days, to be hidden for 180 days or 10 days. You can set that yourself. I basically set it to hide it for 6 months or so. That's all possible. So there's even a cookie notice here. Lots more to come. Well, there's a pop-up. The pop-up has many features to tweak the pop-up to your liking. And you can use a pop-up as a module instance, activate that module instance and activate the pop-up in that module instance, and the module will only show up on one or on the page you want it to show. That's the power of using modules. There are share buttons. Use share buttons for your website, allowing your visitor to share your website on their social media. You see the small arrow, and you can set the buttons. You can set an amount of buttons you want to show. You can adjust it to show on the left or on the right, and it's quite easy. Of course, you can add your Google Analytics code. Quite easy, just insert the Google Analytics script, and there's a special section, a special field in the module that you can paste the code in, and your Google Analytics are instantly covered, or they're working. You don't need to code, you don't need to make a template override, just put it in the module. Quite easy also if you need to update the template. There's no need for anything to think about because it's all in the module and that's not affected. Well, there's an option to disable the right click. If you want to protect your content, don't put it on the internet, but that is my basic understanding. But some people still prefer to have the right click disabled, not allowing people to copy content, but you can make a screenshot or something. So this is a bit of a debatable function to have, but some people really like it and others don't. So I just put it in there and it's for you to use or not. There was a hit counter. This is no longer active, so I can go through this. And there's a mobile contact bar. That's quite a nice feature to have. It enables you to add a mobile contact bar. You can see the green bar at the bottom here. The phone, a WhatsApp contact, an email contact, or a Skype contact. If you don't set any of these, they won't appear. If you set them all, they will all appear. And it only shows on mobile. So if you show your site on your mobile phone, easy access, easy contact access is always available. Well, I'm going to show you a demo. And I will do that with the website of Kickstart Cassiopeia that all, of course, has this template installed. Here you go. First off, the entire site is filled with content. It has lots of tutorials that you can basically see everything you need to know about the module and about Joomla 4 in the future. Lots of things that can be found here, like adding a background image or using the top bar or setting up colors, fix the height of block images. Tons of issues that you can have are basically covered in detailed help articles here. First off, here you see the website with the default module installed for Joomla itself with the background image. But the header bar also has a background image, as you can see now here. So it's basically full width now, and images, the background image just also is in the bar of the module, making the layout issue, making the layout way nicer. I have some sample layouts showing the power of the module. When you go to the block, you have a blocked layout without sidebars, a layout that is not full width, I'm sorry. You can change, for instance, a category list that also has the image on the entire page with the module on the logo on top and the menu below. When we go to typography, you see basically the same layout, but in different colors. And for a single page, I have something like this. And these are all copies of the module that I published on those pages only, and changing the layout there. So you have tons of options to really create great looking websites with just a module. I will log into the website now. First off, you go to site modules. I filter on Kickstart. Here you see my the copies of the module that I selected on certain pages to create a new layout, colors and settings. And the basic is the Kickstart Cassiopeia module for this one, I think. Kickstart Cassiopeia module. Here we go into the module. Of course, it's published on the top bar. Is not the real good position, but it'll work also. And I will have a menu assignment saying it on which pages I want this not to show, or to show, or just all pages. You have import and export settings. So if you created a nice looking color scheme and settings, you can export them and you can import them on another website using Kickstart Cassiopeia quite easily. Layout features. Well, I can set a body background color. I can set content background colors. Those are RGBA colors, so I can select the color and select its transparency. And that's done all over. I can choose a boxed layout, which we're having here on the blog settings. This is a boxed layout. And the home page has a full width layout. You can set the width of the site. There are 3 options: default, wider, and widest. I have not set them to pixels because I want to make it easy. So there are 3 options you can choose from, and one of them will suit you, I think. You can have a text decoration hover. Basically, I'm not a personal fan of all hyperlinks having underscores, so I've created an option to have that removed or not. It's always up to yourself. You can have button borders, radius, rounded corners. We can also do that around content. And this is the disable right click option. For instance, if you go to this website, you see tons of rounded corners here. Nice rounded corners around the buttons, around the headers, around the content articles themselves. And when I go to read more, it's also around the main content area and even the images. So this creates a nice, friendly feature that isn't as hard and cornered as if it was when you didn't use them. But it's always personal preference. So the option is there, it's yours to use it. Close this for now. There you have the option to set a top bar, enable it and set content there, for instance, contact and download. First off, when I'm going into feature, but when I publish it looks like this. And when I decide not to publish it, this is what the power of the module is. Now it's basic Kickstart Cassiopeia, like basic Cassiopeia. And when I publish it, all features are available and it's instantly changed. So that's what the module does. We had the layout option, the top bar. That's what you see at the top here, the contact and download option. And just another module position if you will. You can enable it, set the height, set padding, colors and content. Quite easily, not too difficult. Menu header options. Do I want my menu next to my logo? Well, as you can see, here's the logo and here's the menu and have it next to each other. So yes, I want to set some colors and I also want to set a menu background image that's on top here. If I use the same image here as I used in this module, it'll create a seamless effect. I can set padding, I can set submenu widths, tons of options, add shadow, center the logo, hide the logo, create menu in uppercase, set padding, set the banner height, set the banner overlay color, tons of features on the menu header option. With the footer, not too much features, but still quite nice to have a footer background color or a background image even. And I'm using the same image with the same transparency in the footer here. I updated the color, as you can see. Shouldn't do that. Make it white again. There you go. Here you see the footer with the background image. Well, when we have done some layout things, I can go to colors. And here you have all the color selectors I talked about in the beginning. You can set a primary color, a link color, a hover color, a card background color. This is a card. Something like this. The sidebar. You can have a badge background color. A badge is these things that hold the tags you use for your content articles. You can have text colors there and tons of background colors for module positions. Then you have the button colors. We have a primary text button, secondary button, info button, success button, warning button, danger button. All the Bootstrap buttons are here, and you can set the colors to your liking. As you can see, due to the amount of options, the import and export feature, as here seen, can be quite handy because you do want to make a backup of this and maybe put the small JSON file somewhere so you can always have a reinstall if you need on another website. Typography. Do you want to use custom fonts? You can choose not to, then no Google fonts are loaded. And if you choose to use them, you can load these Google fonts, any Google font you want with any body weight. And you can set body font size, colors for the headings, the same sizes and colors for heading 1 through to heading 5. That's basically the biggest part of layouting, of changing layout. Now we go to the webmaster tools. Webmaster tools are really tiny programs you can use within the module to have more features on your website. For instance, putting Google Analytics in is as simple as pasting it here. Using custom code, this is as simple as, again, pasting it here. Custom head code, custom body code. Custom CSS, again, just paste it here and the CSS will be applied. And this is custom CSS code for the entire website. And as I stated in earlier sheets, you can also do it for any mobile viewport. So this is the custom for only mobile, and this is for only desktop. So you can also target CSS on just mobile or target CSS on just your desktop settings. You have the option to add a favicon to your website. If you want to set a custom favicon file, click on yes, select the image and set some colors. For instance, if you have a Microsoft phone or a Microsoft tablet and you want to add this favicon to your start menu, you can even set the background color of this favicon file for your Microsoft tile color. And there's a theme tile color. Very easy, just select it and the favicon will be applied. If I use favicon now and I press save, I go to my new website where this module will be active. And I'll have to reload, I think. You will see it here. I haven't published it on this page yet, but this is how this works. There's a font size selector option that's new in version 1.8, where you can use the font size selector, and that is the option you have here to create bigger or larger fonts. For visually impaired, it can be quite handy. If you don't decide to use it, you can just disable it. You can set a position left or right. You can set a top padding in percentage. That's how much space will be on top here. And of course, set colors again. Here's the IP access option. IP access allows you to restrict access to your website and just have the IP numbers you put in here have access to your site, and even have an offline message if people are not authorized. So if you have an IP that's different from any of those here shown, the offline message will show that you're not authorized. Well, there's also a mobile contact bar. As I said before, I will show you how this works. If I make the viewport smaller at a certain point, the mobile contact bar will appear, as it would on your mobile phone, of course. And here you see the options. Set a phone number, set a WhatsApp number, set an email address or a Skype username. Let's change the background color if I wanted it to be this color, for instance. And reload it. It'll change color. So you really see it's quite fun to work with the module because all changes are made instantly. There's a privacy and cookie notice that you can enable. If I decide to use this, I'm using 10 days now to hide it. If I do, here it is. This is the privacy and cookie notice. This site uses cookies. If you continue, you agree with this, understood. And that's the text settings we can apply here. It uses the same colors as colors that I've put in my layout primary colors. So it's basically using colors that I'm using here, creating a unified layout. So you don't have to worry about that. It just works. There's the pop-up feature. I'm not showing this, of course, in my default pages, but when I go to search for a pop-up, there's an article explaining how this works in tutorials. And this is a page where I published an instance of the module that uses pop-ups. As you can see, there's a delay time you can set, and then you can set tons of features about how it shows and the content and the background color, all possible to create. Just show, and this is another layout again, a white and orange and gray layout. You can use HTML as content. You set the text for the close buttons. You can set the colors. You can set the max width of the pop-up and the load delay and the fade duration. For instance, if you don't want to bother your visitor with an instant pop-up, you can say, well, I'll first let him read for about 30 or 40 seconds, and then I'll gently put a pop-up there. And then you can create it like this. All those features are available here. Set the max width, the load delay in seconds, and the fade duration. So that's how long it takes for the pop-up to appear. And this is how long it takes for it even to appear. That's the loading delay. You can add share buttons, of course. I'm not showing them at this module, but if I do, you can set the position. You can share the number of buttons you want to show and the top padding. They're not available here at this time at the home page. If I decide to enable them, I want them on the left for this instance. I will show 4 buttons. And if I did that, then here they appear. And I also enabled the pop-up. There they are. I will disable the pop-up now. All my customers will see this. So the pop-up is now not enabled, and these are the share buttons. And if I want to show them on the right side, it's also possible, of course. Then they don't appear here, but they will appear here. There they are. Nicely above the font size selectors. Another new feature is the translate option. This only works for Chrome browsers. Well, Chrome browsers are quite a big number of users, so I decided to put the feature in anyway. How does this work? If I don't use it, it won't show. So it's not available. There you go, not available. If I do use it, and I'm using a Chrome browser, of course, then it will pop up. And then I can select a language, and my entire site will be Google translated into, for instance, English. When I browse through the website now, it'll be all be English. Of course, not for this page because it's a different module install. Sorry. If I choose Dutch, for instance, it's all Dutch now. And this is all Google's work, nothing I'm doing. So creating a multi-language website without creating multi-language content is quite easy, but you have to rely on Google for your content to be translated. And that's not always 100% accurate. That's something I must say. And disabling it is simple as this, and now it's all English again. Another a nice new thing I built was I had a bit of problem with the mobile menu of Cassiopeia. I didn't think it was that nice, this one. Lots of you will have seen this. So I created my own mobile menu that now appears here. And this is a new simple module I created, also available on the website. that you can use to create your off-canvas module. I think that would be about it for the module at this time. So you can take over for now. If there are any questions, feel free to share them and I will answer them. You can download the module at my JModules website. There's a free version and there's a paid version. It's up to you. Start with the free version to see if it's something for you and then go paid. If you go paid, you have tons of more features and it's only 20 euros. So it's not too much. And there are tons of more modules on this website that I'm creating. I will also be presenting more on modules on the Joomla Day USA presentation in April. So that's also something I will do. Well, that's about it for me, I think. You can take over, Ashwin.
All right. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Martin. Thanks for a wonderful session. I think it's, I mean, like you said, it's probably like a Swiss Army knife module. So pretty fantastic stuff there. And thanks for sharing the link to the module. There's one question from Thomas. He's asking, how does this play out with third-party components or modules or plugins like e-commerce or CCKs, some of which have their own CSS JavaScript? So would there be any conflicts, or would it be a problem if we use this module with?
No, there won't be any conflict, because this is it stands on its own. There's nothing how do you say, conflicting with anything else. If you use the same CSS classes that I use, then you can get conflicts, but the chances of that are very low. So there are no real issues there. You could use this on any website. Even if you decide not to use the Cassiopeia template, you could even use the module for the webmaster tools, for instance, and not use it for the layout options. That's also possible. So there are tons of features you can use, even if you don't use Cassiopeia. I don't advise to, because it's built for Cassiopeia. It leans on Cassiopeia for its CSS files. It basically does some CSS overwriting of the Cassiopeia settings. So there are no issues with any third-party extensions that I know of.
Got it. All right. All right, so I think that was the question that we had on YouTube. Thanks for the clarification on that. So yeah, so I think Martin, thanks a lot for joining us. Glad to have you here, and glad to have this great session about the modules that you've built. I'm sure our viewers will find that pretty useful. So like I said, currently we're streaming live on YouTube. And for anybody who missed watching the live stream, the YouTube link will be broadcasted on our Twitter handle in some time. So anybody who's missed watching can catch up on the YouTube video whenever they wish to. So that's it today. Thanks again, Martin. And I mean, we're also eager to kind of get to the next April edition. So I hope, Martin, you can join us then as a viewer.
Of course, I will. Thank you for the opportunity you gave me.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks all the viewers for attending the March Joomla Next. Thank you.